Good morning. It's currently 9:29 a.m. on Saturday, June 20th, 2015. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Luna is watching me with extra big puppy dog eyes this morning. Not for any particular reason that I'm aware of. I just happened to notice right as I start the video. Got hair frizz. What was I going to talk about? Right. Okay. Well, I watched a bunch more of Sense8, and I think I only have 2 episodes left, and I'm continuing to really like it. Unless it somehow really poops the bed in the last couple of episodes, I think I'm putting it down on the list as an incredible show. I really, really like it. It feels very special. It is weird, and it has like a lot of sex and nudity in it. Like, I would say even more than you might normally expect from like an HBO show, for example. It's got some violence, but I would say that's not out of the ordinary violence, meaning that I was surprised by how much sex and nudity there is in it. I was not surprised by the level of violence. But it's not really, like, the show feels like the core values that it's got going for it are just that it's special to be able to share your lives with somebody, and that no one person can do everything, and it's better to have friends that can help you with stuff, and that being kind of the underlying theme, even as we have this science fictional premise. And it's just super cool to see these 8 characters help each other out in specific combinations when they need it, and it's kind of fun. So I'm really liking that. I definitely recommend it if you haven't checked it out already. I would say if, I have heard people complain that it's slow to get going, and I wouldn't disagree exactly, but I would urge you to think of that as time spent, well spent, getting to know these characters. The other thing yesterday is I hadn't set up my Oculus Rift dev kit recently since I had to do my computer reformat. I hadn't ever reinstalled the stuff for it, and just had been busy doing other things. But a lot of the talk about the virtual reality demos at E3 just got me thinking about it again. I'm currently trying to get working VorpX, which is a beta driver that's supposed to be able to let you play all sorts of DirectX games with the Rift. It's going to always be a little bit wonky because a lot of those games weren't, they weren't developed with that in mind, but it's a neat idea. I didn't really get any of them working satisfactorily yet, but I was also doing it, I only spent a little while on it, and I'd had some wine. But, I think one of the interesting problems for virtual reality is, there's a lot of companies spending a lot of money hoping to make this one be the one that's not just a fad. It's time for virtual reality. But the tricky element is that it's got a lot of hurdles because you need extra equipment for it. But you can't, until people have tried it, you can't really convey, like you can't do a TV commercial that conveys how cool the Oculus Rift is. It really is something that you kind of have to just put it on and try it in a cool demo before you really get what's cool about it. Because otherwise, like, you might have just this vague idea of, yeah, that sounds cool, but until you've kind of really put it on, it is surprising still when you do. But at the same time, it's almost like a completely new medium for games. So just slapping it on to other games is not likely to be as effective as figuring out what new kinds of games work really well for it, and which ones can try to maintain that sense of immersion, and also sometimes types of movements can give people motion sickness. So figuring out the best ways to solve those problems is going to be a challenge, and it's got a long way to go, but it is pretty cool. So anyone who is feeling very cynical or dismissive of virtual reality, I would urge you to at least try it. It might not change your mind, but you'll at least know what you're talking about. All right, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.